What's going on, fight fans? This is Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Rob Jarrell, and this is my first video in quite a long time. I think it's been a couple of months since I did a real video that was a preview or recap to any fights, and I know we've had big fights, but this is a preview to Kieth Thurman taking on Mario Barrios in a 147-pound tilt that's going down on Fox PPV tonight. It's a little later than I want it to be, but I'm trying to get it out. And if you decide to check it out, thank you for watching. If you've been with us before, hit that like button and hit the bell to subscribe to this channel and all the latest and greatest that we bring you in boxing, MMA, and any other particular combat matches that we can cover. So, with this one, it's an interesting fight. Kieth Thurman, this is his first fight since his loss to Manny Pacquiao, in which Manny Pacquiao took away his O, so he's a one-loss welterweight fighter who's a little bit older. I mean, Thurman is someone who really doesn't fight that often. Saying he fights once a year is being very generous. He fought twice in 2019, one tune-up, then Manny Pacquiao. Then before that, he fought in 2017 versus Danny Garcia. And then before that, I think it had been a while. He fought Porter. So once a year, and he's someone who's had various injuries and risk and have to take that time off. And usually does pretty well for him, but he's going up against a young guy who also has one loss in Mario Barrios, and that latest loss was his biggest step up against a smaller or a fighter moving up a division in Gervonta Davis. Now, granted, he may have been moving up to a division he had never fought at, but his power carried. And with Mario Barrios, we need to see if his power carries upward against a guy who has been in the welterweight division for quite some time. I think he's even had some fights at junior middleweight. So Kieth Thurman, while he'll be the shorter guy, he'll be the more experienced guy and the more experienced guy in this particular division. So let's start with Barrios. Barrios is a really good volume puncher. He's not particularly fast, but he's very quick. He has good footwork, and he knows how to put his combinations together. I can see him being the aggressor in this fight, trying to time Kieth Thurman, as Kieth Thurman normally works on the outside and likes to jump in, put his shot down, and escape. And he usually doesn't escape back. He usually escapes at angles, so it's really hard to really push him back. But if you have good footwork and you have blazing speed like Pacquiao did, um, it's going to be a long night for Thurman. And Barrios, I can't really see him starting off that fast. I think it takes him time to get the timing down. If you look at his fight with Ryan Carr, if you look at with Gervonta Davis, he did start to get the timing down over the course of the fight. But someone who's naturally faster or more explosive than him will take advantage early. He does fight well on the inside. He does like to work off that jab. And usually he sets up punches really good with the jab because if you jump in, he'll blind you with the jab, he'll pop you with the jab, but he can drop the uppercut or hook to the body or come back upstairs. Um, and then once he seems that he has that timing down, he'll start to reel off those shots. He caught Ryan Carr with quite a few uppercuts, and he was able to catch Gervonta Davis as well. I think Gervonta Davis being more talented, more powerful, and more explosive, and being a southpaw really put Barrios at a disadvantage. I can see that happening versus Thurman, who is quick. He places his shots well. He knows how to get away from danger and also stay away from danger. Like I said, the only person who could really take full advantage of that is Manny Pacquiao. We know Manny Pacquiao has really quick feet. He likes to lunge in. He likes to get ahead of steam, and he could throw punches and bunches from that southpaw stance. Um, Kieth Thurman is not someone who's going to take a whole lot of chances. I mean, he'll pick his shots, and once he knows that he can push you back, that's when he'll start to stay in a little bit longer than your average than he normally does. And Barrios might be waiting on that. He might inch closer, try to stay within a certain mid-range to Thurman. So as Thurman tries to escape, he has the length to still hit him on the way out, even if it's not cleanly. He doesn't hit him clean. Again, we have to see if what power that Barrios has carries to the welterweight division from 140. Barrios, he's 26-1. He has 17 knockouts. Um, but again, he really hasn't had the best competition. I think the last three fights, well, four might have been his best with Ryan Carl, Javante Davis, and Bakhtiar Akhmedov. One in which he knocked Carl out, and Akhmedov, it went 12 rounds. And to be honest, I don't see, unless Thurman takes the chances, sticks in there at mid range to reel off those punches, I don't see this not going 12 rounds. I mean, Barrios has a really good chin, and any other fighter against Javante Davis would have been out of there. They would have just straight up capitulated. Whereas Barrios actually hung in there, and Javante Davis literally had to put him down. And does Thurman still have that kind of power to put a guy like Barrios down? He should, being that guy is a 140 pounder, but he also has a great coach in his corner. So it'll be interesting. Um, I'm going to be hard pressed to say Thurman because he does function well off of long layoffs. This being, I think, his longest at 2.5 years and not just 2 years. Um, Barrios has fought once a year, so I don't know if this really works to advantage, but his last fight was about 7 or 8 months ago, which is about right for a fighter who suffered a knockout. The other factor is that Barrios is only 26. Thurman is a little bit older. He's not a little bit older. I want to say he's 33, so he's got about 7 years on Barrios. That could be experience or the age and the layoff could really start to show his head, but that remains to be seen. I think if Barrios can time Thurman going well and keep him moving backwards, I think he has a really good chance. And I hope he's worked on cutting off the ring, because if he gives Thurman too many escape routes, Thurman's going to throw those punches from some really good angles. But if Thurman is showing that layoff was really took a toll on him, any particular injuries that he suffered in that time or beforehand shows that it take a toll, or if he's just not willing to mix it up with the guy like Barrios, I could see this being a split decision or majority draw. So it has that kind of potential. I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be as good of a fight as Kieth Thurman really wants to make it. Also on the undercard, we have Leo Santa Cruz making his return. He's going up against Keenan Carbajal. I don't know much about Carbajal. I see he's much taller than Leo Santa Cruz, and he's got 2 losses, but those losses were very early in his career, and I'm always wary about a guy who suffers early losses, which means they've learned a lot in that time span, but his competition as well hasn't been great. He's got a lot of guys with a lot of losses on their record, so he could just be fighting as often as possible in order until they get a real competition. And they seem like glorified sparring matches. So that should be as entertaining as we make it. Leo Santa Cruz, if he come to fight, I can see him winning that fight, but it really depends on how good his opponent really is. Just some other notable fights going down this weekend I wasn't able to cover. Luis Neri returns on the undercard. Abel Ramos is on the undercard. Ryan Carl is on the undercard, and over on the zone you have Carlos Cuadras fighting, Jamie Mitchell fighting, and unfortunately it's not televised, but there is a fight card with Chris Eubank Jr. taking on Liam Williams. I'm looking for Eubank Jr. to put Liam Williams down, and you have Claressa Shields defending her 3 belts, WBC, IBF, and WBA, in a middleweight matchup. So if you can tune in to any of them, definitely. But that's all I got for you today. Tell me what you think. Is Thurman going to look impressive coming off that long layoff, or is Mario Barrios still looking to take that big step up? And actually become a player in a very deep 147-pound division. Again, if you like what you see, hit that like button, share with your friends, hit that bell icon to get the latest and greatest from us. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and look for more from myself and Hakeem. We'll give you an update on what we plan to do for this upcoming year. This is more of a simple video for us, and hopefully stay tuned to the end. Until next time, fight on.